and welcome to our 9 p.m. English news, brought to you live by RTD. Balbala fires incident, the President Gile and Right Housing Foundation handed over the key of housing to 199 families affected by the fire. United States Trump administration, the Republicans still divided about Obamacare. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the Foundation Right to Housing that has established was honored today in Balbala. In effect, was to the end of the nightmare and painful days for the few 199 families who have lost everything in the fire that ravaged the area called 4 meters on Tuesday, 19 July. The family of the district at the most vulnerable have received this morning from the hand of the head of the state the keys of their new housing. It is the first house in the drive building in a city service, a complete neighborhood including a mosque, dispensary, a school, vocational training center. It is housing composed of 2 parts but expanded to 3, which was granted in the form of donation to the Foundation Right to Housing. Upon his arrival, the head of state has been welcomed by the Minister of Interior, Hassan Umar, who have also in charge of the coordination and management of the assistance to the disaster victim of Balbala. Several members of the government and responsible civilian and military personnel, including the Chief Defense Staff, General Secretary Sheikh Ibrahim, the Prefect of the Djibouti, the Mayor of Djibouti, Fadma Usman, the President of the Commune of Balbala, local elected representative, as well as a crowd of happy beneficiaries. The main concern and the disaster scatter area in the fire of Balbala have welcomed the President Guelleh. It is with the tears in their eyes that these families have received from the hand of the #1 of Djibouti the keys to the new homes. The Foundation Right Housing, initiated by the President Guelleh itself, had the mission from the outside to provide a roof to each household in Djiboutian modest income, and in total of 199 affected families in the fire of the district 4 meters of Balbala were rehoused this morning. After the delivery of the key of the new home for the losses of the Balbala, the President of the Republic has taken advantage of this opportunity to meet with the beneficiary installed in the new home. They have expressed to the President of the Republic of their satisfaction to have benefited from the new housing, but also donation in the first-hand component of foodstuff, kitchen utensils, mattresses and blankets. Following to this talk with the victim relocated, the head of state announced in the interview granted to the RTD, it's great relief to see the plight of this family. I'm committed to the 199.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Right to housing indeed to offer a roof to each household in Djibouti. Modest income has clarified the head of state. His choice is intense for the simple reason that the fruit of this idea of making this foundation coincides today at the time when the real need is presented with this disaster, which has made it without shell of any great relief. It was our duty of responsibility to relocate this without shelter, who have had done this morning. Now to them to take care of the new premises, has concluded the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. Following the distribution of the key of the new home, our team of reporters has interviewed the happy inhabitant of this new housing, who had identified and said, we have constantly implored God so that the cover of our president, with his blessing repeated at the leisure of the new beneficiary of these houses. But elsewhere, they had added that the effectiveness of the President Guelleh is measured of the speed with which he had administered in record time to the drama born of the fire which has decimated our life. The entire family victim of the recent fire of Balbala, granted by the President of the Republic, have all made it a vibrant tribute to the President of the Republic for the new housing. After the meeting with the victim of the fire who benefited from the new housing, the President visited the site. Is closely a proximity to the accommodation are in the construction for the account of the foundation right to housing. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Hassan Umar, the Director of the foundation, Ismail Omar Guelleh, and several officers have accompanied the President during this visit. Initiated by the President of the Republic, the project of Foundation Right to Housing, also called Foundation Ismail Omar Guelleh, is a great social project intending to promote access to housing for the poorest people. The work are underway for the construction of housing for the benefit of poor families. This morning, 199 families claimed for the fire of 4 meters of Balbala. The Minister of the Economy and Finance in charge of industry has conducted this morning in his cabinet the signature of the Memorandum of Agreement of Donation with the Regional Director of African Development Bank. The ceremony was held in the presence of the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Mohamed Ahmed Awale, the Secretary General of the Minister of the Finance, officially including Mr. Ali Gadile, Director of External Financing, and his collaborator, and Mr. Ibrahim Ilmi, Coordinator of the project in the Department of Agriculture. This conversion of amount of 5,778,000 will fund the program for the adaptation of the means of the substance to climate change in rural area in the Horn of Africa, which aims to implement adaptation strategy in the Horn of Africa, starting by Djibouti and Kenya. The project will execute the semi-arid area and should produce the following accomplishment: raising awareness of stockholders to participate in the planning of the dynamic measure for adaptation to the climate change, integration of measurement for adaptation to climate change in development plans. The main objective of this program is to improve the resilience of the community, pastoral and agri-pastoral, through the adaptation to the climate change in target area in Djibouti. Still on the national news, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Elias Moussa Dawali, has initiated with the Director General of the African Bank Development the donation agreement, which has for objective to improve the resilience of the communities, pastoral and agro-pastoral, through the adaptation to the climate change in the target area of Djibouti. He thanks the African Bank Development for its support. The Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Mohamed Ahmed Awale, has explained the program that will be carried out in the 5 regions of our country. This project will target the watershed of the Republic of Djibouti. The main beneficiaries of the project are the agro-pastoral community residing in the semi-arid area that are particularly exposed to climate change. The activity of the project are indeed to take care of the different effects of climate change on a rural livelihood, financing adaptation measures and related service based on the time, on the tradition, knowledge, the knowledge of the community, pastoral and agro-pastoral, and technique sustainable practice improved. The Minister of the National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mahamoud, received at the end of this morning in his cabinet the new coordinator of the United Nations system, representative of the UNPD in our country, Madam Barbara Nancy. In the course of this meeting, which took part the Secretary General of the MONFOR, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah, and the advisor on the communication from the Minister, Mr. Muhammad Barkhad Sirad, the Minister of Education, and his host have discussed several points relating to the Djiboutian education system, in which the plan of the action of education and the support of the education of the children and refugees by the government of Djibouti. The mobilization of a United Nations partner for the involvement in the development of education system, who has also raised by the two responsible. Finally, Madame Nancy is delighted with the meeting with the Minister of the National Education and has also promises to the UNPD the program was going to lend its support to the education sector. Still on the national news, the National Union of Djibouti Women had held yesterday a meeting to raise awareness of the beneficiary of the program of food. The objective is to inform the beneficiary the medium bronze as the technique of transfer and transaction via by phone and the term of condition of purchase and retailers, but also the meeting to educate the beneficiary that these foodstuffs are to prevent on the malnutrition of pregnant women and letting those of children from 0 to 2 years old. This awareness training was indeed for the recipient from the commune of Balbala and Bulaus, animated by the facilitator of the UNFD in charge of program to combat malnutrition. This awareness training has the participation of the Secretary General of UNFD, the Secretary General of the Secretariat of the Social Affairs, and the representative of the WFP and the coordinator of Sharmarke Project Hassan. The Secretary General of UNFD and the Secretary General of the Secretary of Social Affairs, including successfully the objective of this awareness workshop, inform the beneficiary to the medium bronze as the technique and transfer the transaction via by phone, the term and condition of the purchase at the retailers. In Dikil now, a meeting of evaluation to select the best project proposed by young people of the region of Dikil was held yesterday morning conference of the prefecture of Dikil, and this is the framework of the project of youth entrepreneurship launched with the caravan entitled Undertaking to Djibouti. This meeting was chaired by the prefect of the region, Mohammed Sheikh Hassan, H1 community, with the manager and specialist to the INAF have studied more than 14 projects formulated by the promising youth people at the region. To this effect has been withheld that the promise of the 6 best projects. This will be monitored and followed by the INAF for the consolidation of the document and the foundation of the project. Let us recall that this approach are entirely in the policy of leaders of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, to combat unemployment. Still, with regard to the caravan entrepreneurship, this time is the north of Tachora. The Minister of Labor, according the INAF, has launched a program for the entrepreneurship training to the benefit of young graduated and non-graduated wishing to embark in this adventure in the 5 regions of the interior. At the end of this meeting, the Minister of the Labor in person browsing through the whole of the region at the caravan of the entrepreneurship that is placed in the recent month, and had promises to this opportunity that his department with his partner will find the best project for the creation of the company. In this context, yesterday, Tachora, like other regions in the premises of the region Council of Tachora, juries had examined several projects for the creation of business presented by young people of the White City, and the 5 best projects will be selected. We regret to announce the death of Ibrahim Awale Assowe, more known under the name of Rufane Assowe, occurred on Tuesday 25 July at the Peltier Hospital of Djibouti. Age of 84, the deceased was a farmer merchant, Sheikh Usman Wais, and was very known in his neighborhood, 7 Piece. The deceased was in retire from the FNB in 2003. He left behind his widow and 4 children and 18 grandchildren. May God welcome him in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Moving on to international news, The United Nations, the senator rejected the dismantling project of Obamacare 24 hours after having voted the opening of the debate on the repeal of Obamacare. The U.S. Senator has rejected the project of the Republican to finish with the system of social protection. The upper house has rejected for the 20th time yesterday tax on the repeat dry of the social security system introduced by the Democratic in 2010. 7 Republicans are opposed, including John McCain, who had voted for the eve for the opening of the debate. The Republican majority hopes at last achieve a partial outrage before the end of the week, including the cancelling certain obligatory of the Obamacare, for example, those made to the individual to subscribe to the health center and companies to propose a coverage to their employment. In a meeting in Osho, Donald Trump has felt that it was only a not-free citizen of the nightmare of Obamacare. That is all for this evening news. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a wonderful evening.